Good morning, and thank you for having me this morning. It's a pleasure. Greetings to Her Excellency Erelu Deleye BC Fayemi. Good morning, and thank you for joining us, Ma. And also to the country representative, UNFPA, Elizabeth Kula. Thank you for joining us this morning too, and being one of the speakers. Good morning. And the Commissioner for Health, good morning. God bless you. And every other speakers, I'm saying good morning to you. Also to the organizers of this wonderful speaking engagement, I want to say good morning to you. God bless you. Using Ms. Ayodeji Bello as a point of contact to everyone who has campaigned and who is campaigning. Thank you. This morning, I am particularly excited to be speaking on this very, very crucial topic, female genital mutilation. In the aspect of culture, this is something that has a lot to do with culture because it started that way. And the interest of those who started this was about self-discipline. If you would find out very well, they are looking at our girls growing up. They don't want the girls to be promiscuous and a lot of other beliefs that are not correct or right. I would say that in stopping all of these things, we need to reorientate the parents, we need to orientate our grandmothers, we need to orientate the girls. And we've been doing that. Last year, I was at the event put together to speak to these girls. And being an ambassador, it was interesting for me. These girls asked questions. There were mothers, there were uncles, there were aunties, there were fathers there who listened. And I was very, very excited to be talking to them and answering their questions. And so we need to start reorientating. I think it's all about reorientation because it started with the mindset, wanting to say, okay, let's stop this. We don't want this to happen. But being a Yoruba representative, I would say there's a Yoruba day that says, Ori fifo koni, Ori bibe koni ogun ori fifo. That is, you do not have to cut the head off because there's an headache. There are other ways to attend to these things. So we will continue to speak to these parents and we sensitize them, go into the villages where these are actually happening. Female genital mutilation is something that starts from birth, and so to around 15 years of age, they are still doing this. Some of them, it happens to these girls as babies, some as teenagers. And so if we talk to the girls, they'll be able to fight for their rights and say, no, we don't think this is right. Self-discipline is what these mothers want to teach. Self-discipline is what all these people want to talk about. And so if it's about self-discipline, why don't we talk more on self-discipline? If we want chastity in our girls, there are better ways to do it. We do not have to mutilate them. A man who has a wandering eyes, you do not remove the eyes of the man so that he stops wandering around. No. What he needs to learn, what he needs to be trained for is self-discipline. So I think our mothers will be more relaxed. They will stop thinking about mutilating our girls' genitalia if they are sensitized, if they are orientated on better ways to keep our girls more modest and chaste. Modesty and chastity is a good culture. And so if we promote that more, there will be less, this will reduce, it's going to reduce it, because the main reason and the main point why this is happening to our girls is so that they are not promiscuous, but because our parents do not know how well and how best to go about it. So well, if we talk to them, if we cooperate together, the cultural system, the government, the religious sects, because we need to also let them know that religion does not permit this. Religion does not say that anyone should be mutilated. It is not a good culture. It does a lot to these girls. It does a lot. It changes their biological system, and this should not happen. You do not have to do it. You do not have to. Cutting off the hand will not stop stealing. But if we preach if we preach self-discipline, like I said, I'm going to hammer very well on self-discipline this morning, that there is a way to talk to these girls about self-discipline, not having not having genitals at all is not going to stop it. You cannot remove the genitals. And so if it's going to stop it, there won't be prostitutes at all. A lot of those, a lot of prostitutes have gone through the same thing. So why are they still there? I was speaking to a family friend recently, and I was talking about it, and I said to him that these things should not happen. It's not going to change anything. A lot of us, there are still people who didn't go through this, and we have remained modest and chaste, and we can very well introduce how we're able to do this without, how we're able to cope, and how we're able to remain modest without having to go through this very barbaric act. I would always say that it is horrific every time I think about it, and that is where all these forms of abuses start from. You see, a man who thinks that it's okay if a baby girl can go through that kind of mutilation, it's going to be at the back of his mind that it's okay, the baby can also go through rape. And so orientation, not just on the part of the parents, but the men too should be involved. We need to change the culture. Culture is something that starts for a reason. All over the world, it starts for a reason. And so if we get the reason right, then we can actually talk about it. Talk to the men, talk to the older women, wherever, and all those who are doing these things and calling it circumcision, just like the Commissioner for Health mentioned when he was speaking to us. They call it circumcision, but not even in the Bible. There is no place in any of the religious books where it is supported that that the girl child should be circumcised. There is really no point for it, and I've never heard anyone say that this is why they are doing it. A lot of things can go wrong from doing these things. We need to also orientate them about the dangers. The girls can bleed to death, the babies can bleed to death. Anything can happen while you are doing it. There's another saying about circumcision, and it's about the male child, not the female child. There is nothing, absolutely nothing to take off. There is no foreskin to take off. There is nothing to circumcise in a girl child. And so if we all cooperate, all the interested persons and organizations, and we begin to move this campaign, I believe that things will get better, and our girls can have a better future and be able to relate well. These things can be kept. These things can be kept. It's not a key, it's not a lock. Circumcision is not a lock. We need to tell our parents that it's not a lock, it's not a key at all. Things that will happen will still happen. What we need to do is to talk to our girls. And so if organizations will rise up and begin to bring back the culture of chastity, maybe, just maybe, these people would have more faith and hope in the generation that we have today. Because if you ask some of these people, they would say that the girls of nowadays are not as chaste, not as modest as our mothers. And so it's helping the belief and the culture of female genital mutilation is really, really helping. The things that are happening today, there is no, how do I put this? How do I explain this? In those days, there's a lot of, our parents are very reserved, our mothers are very reserved, but you see girls today going about doing their things, and so these people are looking at this generation and saying, no, look here, we need to, that is why they are intensifying on it. But if we really need to stop it, then attitudes need to change. Mindsets needs to change. That we can be very, very modest. We can be very cultured and disciplined. What is culture? What is discipline? It is deciding not to do something, not because you do not have access to do it. So we do not have to cut off the assets, but we do not have to cut off the access, but we can work on it. We can do things. We can tell these girls We can tell their parents. We do not have to cut off. We do not have to cut off their genitals, any part of their genitals. We do not have to cut it to stop them, but we can work on them by talking to them. Fasting is not lack of food. Fasting is deciding not to eat, even though there is food. And so if we explain it this way to the elders, I believe that it's not something that will happen in a day, but very soon, all will be well, and then female genital mutilation will be a thing of the past that we will only tell the story to our children, the upcoming generation, to our girls, that once upon a time, soon it will be a thing of the past. I believe so. And you see, I'm willing to work with all the organizations campaigning against it. I'm campaigning against this globally, on global level, any way and anywhere you think I can come in, I'll be willing. I'm working towards it. We are doing all that we can, talking to the guests. The culture we want to bring back is modesty and not female genital mutilation. It should be a thing of the past. Thank you very much for listening to me this morning. God bless the organizers. Again, using Miss Ayodeji as a point of contact. God bless you. Thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure. I'll always represent the girls, the baby girls, the adults, the women. I am yours forever. Love you. Thank you.